We started hour number one talking about the joint workouts, and we wanted to know, did they take a leap? Do you feel better about things coming into the season? Because by all accounts, they held their own, which is funny. It's like, that's a win.
Yeah.
We held our own.
Yeah.
It was practice. We held our own, but you take them wherever you can get them.
Yeah.
Is there anything short? What does Shedeur Sanders have to do now that basically the hay is in the barn? They're going to do a walkthrough today, and their final preseason game is tomorrow. What does Shedeur?
Well, not the final preseason game. But
you're right.
Yeah.
The decisive preseason
Yeah,
game.
right. Yes.
After this, he's
they got to
kicked
name
the
the
can
starter.
down the road as long as he can.
Yeah.
He's going to have to name a starter Monday of next week. What does Shedeur Sanders have to do in your mind to win this job? Can he win this job?
I mean, to me, he should be able to. Who knows what coach is thinking here in this situation? All the tea leaves we're reading signal that Deshaun Watson's going to be the starter. And while I don't understand it and don't agree with it, not because Shedeur has played well, just because I see at least some point of playing Shedeur, and I don't see any point of playing Deshaun Watson. But he obviously feels Deshaun Watson gives them a better chance to win. I know a number of people have said, well, even the most ardent Shedeur supporters like G. Bush has said, I'm not going to say that he hasn't said Shedeur's been great in practice. He thinks Shedeur's been better than Deshaun Watson. But there's a lot of stuff, and I think most people think it's been about even.
Yeah.
Neither one particularly good. But there's also a lot of stuff we don't see.
Sure.
We don't know what's going on in the huddle. We don't know what's going on in the classroom and all this stuff. So I guess in theory, Deshaun Watson's doing a better job there. I don't buy he's playing because of the money. That doesn't make any sense.
No.
Because what's the point? The money's spent. It's done.
Yeah.
So
personally, the one thing that the money could come in play, if he gets injured, Deshaun Watson, then that big number that's looming there could be paid by insurance and not by Jimmy Haslam. And that's something that we really haven't talked much about.
Sure, but
we should.
It doesn't affect the cap, though.
They got relief. I know you hate to go there because that's not the reason to make him the number one starter.
Right.
But if it happens, they got relief from his injury last year.
Not on the cap, but
not on the cap. The cap is what it is at this point. But
right? Yeah, I guess. But I just don't buy that's the reason.
I don't either, Bull. I just think it might be part of the thinking.
Sure. For whatever reason, Todd Monken is not worried about what's happened in the past. He thinks that this guy gives him the best chance to win. So if at this point, Shedeur Sanders, it seems like, had to clearly separate himself from Deshaun Watson, the Bills are not going to play their starters in this preseason game. So even if he plays decent, the Browns are not going to play their starters.
No, the older guys aren't going to play. The young starters are going to play.
Okay,
that's
sure.
what Monken said after practice.
I guess in theory, if he looked sensational in this game, but my gut tells me right now, even though I disagree with it, that there's nothing Shedeur could do to win this job at this point.
I think that's the general consensus.
I think what the Browns have been looking for out of Shedeur is, they've been pretty much equal. Yeah, Deshaun's had some bad practices. Shedeur's had some bad practices. Deshaun's had some great practices. Shedeur's had a couple good practices. If it's all even, it comes down to who can operate the offense, who can get you into a formation, read the defense, call out audibles. And that goes to the veteran, which I don't think is breaking news. Deshaun Watson's done this longer.
Right.
That's the thing. He's been through NFL, different head coaches, different offenses. So it doesn't surprise me that Deshaun maybe has a better grasp of what Todd Monken wants out of his quarterback right now. Shedeur Sanders has to go out there if he wants to win the job. Pretty much, I don't say play flawless, but he has to show that he has a complete grasp of the playbook, that he can go to the line, recognize coverages, call out, take the right shots. He hasn't turned the ball over as much as Deshaun, but again, to Bull's point, we're only seeing practices and the quarterback tracker. We don't know what they're actually working on. We don't know what he's supposed to do. We just see the video and what the end result is, and maybe that's what they're looking for. Maybe it isn't. But it seems to me that the issue that they have with Shedeur is that he just doesn't have a grasp of the offense, and he's a young guy, and that's not a knock on Shedeur as a person. That's just where he is in his development. So I think, yes, the tea leaves seem to be pointing towards Deshaun Watson. I think putting the veteran out there when you have this young offense, at least at the start of the year, is not the worst thing in the world, because you need a quarterback who can operate, as in get the play call in, as in get these young receivers on the right page, get the offensive line on the right page. That's how your offense develops.
There are a lot of different scenarios for how this could play out, not just to start the season, but the whole season.
Yeah.
among the scenarios that I cannot at this time get my mind around is that Deshaun Watson is the week 1 starter and he plays 17 games.
Oh, I mean, there's almost no chance
I
of
can't
that.
get my mind around that.
No way.
So
They
what
have
that
more
tells me
starting
is
quarterbacks in like the last 5 years than anybody else in the NFL.
probably during
By
any
a
stretch,
wide margin.
probably not just in the last 5 years, but probably for any team's 5-year stretch. It's insane how many starting quarterbacks they've used.
Yeah.
So that in mind, I know we're focusing on a big deal on who the starter's going to be because that's next.
Right.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
But Shedeur Sanders is going to play football this year
100%.
for the Cleveland Browns.
I'd agree. Yeah.
You can almost book it.
Yeah.
In fact, I would take the over-under. If it's 2.5, I would take the over that Dylan Gabriel will see time this year.
He might.
I'm just.
Stadium might explode. They won't have to demolish it.
No, it just crumble around
It
itself.
wouldn't shock me if Talon Green is playing.
Now that would shock me. That would
week
shock me.
17, week 18.
Well, I mean, who knows?
I'd love to
We've
see
done
it. He'd be a fun guy to
I'll say
watch.
this. I'll
We've
say
done it
Talon
before.
Green or someone else.
Okay.
What's PJ Walker up to? He's still around here somewhere?
Hello, PJ. Yeah. So I'm in agreement with you, Bull, for sure. I think that this decision has been pretty much, let's say it was penciled in
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yes.
For whatever reason, I think that Todd Monken, maybe it's to endear himself to the fans early on, he's playing their silly game. He's putting the perception out there that, hey, we're taking a serious look at this Shedeur kid. And, if he can win the job, it's hit. But I don't think this has ever been a competition. And it's particularly the way they've both played. Nobody has separated themselves.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I think it's been a competition.
I think so.
I agree with the first part of what you said, that he's been leaning, that Watson had the edge for a while. But I think if Shedeur had clearly outplayed Deshaun the entire preseason, I think he could have been the starter. Again, I don't know that.
Yeah, here's how he wins the job. Is there a scenario? Yeah, I can see one.
Okay.
And here's how he does it. He goes 13 of 15 for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, you're asking me.
Okay. And the
here's
operational stuff, no false starts, no delay of games.
Everything looks good.
Yeah, everything
looks good. No picks, no fumbles, no sacks. I'm talking he's got to spin a perfect game.
Yeah.
And then how does Todd Monken step to the podium Monday and say, well, we've made our choice and it's Deshaun Watson? Get the pitchforks ready. They're storming the facility in Berea. Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Yes.
Because the Shedeur crowd has been maintaining all along that he's the better quarterback.
Right.
And so if Deshaun goes out there and lays an egg against the threes, and Shedeur goes out there and spins a perfect game, 2s on 2s, then the ruse is up. Oh, this was never a competition in the first place.
Well,
you were just putting on a dog and pony show, making us think there was a chance.
Right.
And then, and the reason I say that is because the practices have weighed heavily, no question. Yesterday weighed heavily, no question. But we're going into round 15 and neither guy's landed a knockout punch.
No.
So if you don't want it to go to the card, to the judges, what do you do if you're Shedeur? You throw the haymaker and you throw the knockout punch.
Yeah.
And if you throw the knockout punch and you show the staff, the fans, and the world, I can handle the offense, I can get us in and out, I can make the right decisions, I can check at the line and change protections, I can check us into the right play when I see the wrong defense, I can 3 drives, 80 yards down the field, I threw for 3 touchdowns. I wouldn't want to be Todd Monken if you're going to name Deshaun Watson on Monday.
I wonder, let's say I think we all think that it's very unlikely that Shedeur is going to be the week 1 starter, right?
I would agree with that.
I wonder if Todd Monken has said to Deshaun Watson, hey, listen, I keep saying you're going to play the second half this game. Be prepared to play. But I wonder if he's thinking, like, if Shedeur does not play well or is just okay.
I see where you're going.
If he's just like,
Deshaun, take a seat.
That's it. You're not playing.
Green, get in there.
That's it. And then we know. Because if Deshaun doesn't play in the second at all in this game.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Because he said.
Then the hay's in the barn and the decision is made. And now you don't want to risk your guy getting hurt.
Right, but you can't.
Even though those are valuable reps.
But I wonder if he's told him to be prepared in case this because if Shedeur does play well, maybe he want. I don't know.
It's an interesting question.
I would
love for that to be posed to Todd Monken.
I'd be shocked if he would tell Deshaun, "You're not playing in this," because Todd Monken is an old school football coach. And I think at the end of the day, he values those reps
maybe
more than anything. And even if he says, "Hey, Deshaun, you know what? You're going to go out there, don't get hurt. You're going to be the week 1 starter."
Yeah,
he still wants reps. He still wants because Deshaun hasn't played in 2 years.
No, and he needs.
But it's an interesting idea.
You're right. It might happen.
Well, listen, if the third quarter starts and Dylan Gabriel trots out there, then your theory is 100%.
Then it's over.
There's competition.
Berea, they've decided.
If Shedeur throws a couple of picks, holds the ball too long, gets a blindside sack fumble, then, he didn't throw the knockout punch, so I don't need my guy to fight another round.
Right, yeah.
Keep him in the barn.
Again,
keep him
just
safe.
possible that
No, it's something something to consider, something to think about for sure, because it's the Browns.
Yeah.
There are a million things that could happen.
I'm excited for 5 years from now when the AI versions of us are sitting down doing the Ultimate Cleveland Sports
it's going to be fun to watch.
And we're going to be like, oh my gosh, they were arguing over Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders. And the answer is it doesn't matter who starts week 1.
Well,
their quarterback is in college.
I really believe that if they get it right at quarterback, that's a big if.
Yeah.
But I will give, and you and I have both been critical, although you've given Andrew Berry credit because you all the D Podesta stuff. But Andrew Berry is drafted great last year outside of Dylan Gabriel.
Looks good
this year on paper. We don't know yet. It looks like he's done really well.
Early returns are good.
If they get it right at quarterback next year, the quarterback comes into a pretty good Now, we'll see about the offensive line. Outside of left tackle, I'm skeptical about the rest of it.
I am too.
But a young quarterback comes in, and look at all these good young skill position players you have.
I know.
It's a good spot for a quarterback to come in next year.
Very good spot.
So,
because by then, these guys will be 3-year and 2-year pros.
Right. Yeah.
And you're
Jerry
right.
Judy gone.
Move
on from him after this year. Your top 3 receivers with Concepcion, Boston, and Bond next year, even Bond is a third guy. I like him as a third guy.
I do too.
I love Harold Fannin. We all love Harold Fannin.
Yeah.
And Quinshon Judkins, I think, at worst, is going to be a good back, and he might be a great back.
Throw Sampson in there too. I think
as a change of pace, he could be a decent player.
He's going to be a guy this year that we all look at and say he's a lot better than we thought he was going to be after seeing him last year.
He's the type of back that desperately needs the O-line to block well.
He needs space
more than some other guys.
Yes, he's going to be the Keaton Mitchell of this offense. If you know him with the Ravens, Derrick Henry was the bell cow. He got all the hard yards. Mitchell comes in, catches out of the backfield, the speed guy. That's why I'm really excited to see Dylan Sampson. I might not draft him in a fantasy league, but he's going to make plays. He's going to be a factor on this offense.
Yeah, I believe so. And he can't be the bell cow. He just can't. We saw that last year.
No, but
a change of pace guy that can catch the ball, and if you get him in open space,
goodbye.
Look out, because he's got
immediate
weapon. Speed, and he can definitely slice his way through a defense. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, James Harden might be the most patient player in the NBA. I was shocked the way this whole thing played out.